I'm here with Terri Breeze, who is a practitioner, um, also a psychic medium. And I'm not a professional interviewer. I am doing this for Hope Spiritual Center to let people know that there's a place to go that's safe, where you can make good friends, friends that last forever. You could be mentored to bring along your psychic capabilities if you have realized that, hey, I have these gifts. And so I'm here with Terri Breeze because she happens to not only be a psychic medium herself, but she's got a long history of it running in her family. So, Terri, if you could let me know, like, were you born with this?
I know it runs in my family, um, and things obviously happen, which at the time you don't know what it is or why. And
Yeah.
it wasn't when I've been for readings, people used to say, you should be doing this. And I'm like, I think you're crazy. Um, and then I started seeing almost like pictures, almost like a video.
Hmm.
And then those things would actually happen maybe 3 weeks to 6 weeks later, exactly the same thing as what I've seen. Yes, and
Amazing.
so that's where I ended up going down and seeing Joe on stage.
Really?
And
Where
and
was that at?
this was in Great Missenden.
Okay.
And I felt really drawn to her. For some reason, I don't know why I went, but they always say your guides take you to the people and the places that you should be at. And that's where, although I'd been and done a little bit of mediumship
Yeah.
previously. Yeah, I met up with Jo and I ended up going to her circle and it just took off from there, really.
Did you sit with her circle? I mean, were you part of like the circle where you all sat to develop, or is that what
Yes,
you, yes.
that's where I started off at. I sat with Jo in circle with quite a few other people, and Jo is an amazing tutor, and she definitely gets the best out of you. There's definitely no ego whatsoever. And she says it as it is,
Right,
which suits me perfectly. I'm not one of these that want to be flannelled and mollycoddled. So
right.
for me, I like somebody that's going to be straight and honest, which she is. And she knows what you're capable of. And she pushes you to
Yeah.
be the best that you possibly can at whatever it is that you are capable of.
So you are as you worked with her, you not only have you um attended her workshops, but now you've sort of like graduated or evolved to where you practice on your own and you also work with her putting on these group sessions at the Hope Spiritual Center, right?
Yes, I've done both at Hope. I will say I've been a student there as well as a tutor there, and I must say that Hope Spiritual Centre is an amazing place. It's one of those places, and I have to speak as I find. I'm probably one of the most skeptical people going, but it's one of those places that you can go,
Yeah.
and as you walk through that door, it's like, oh, I'm home. The energy is amazing. You can go there and know nobody, and you can come out with people, friends that will remain your friends. Most of them will remain your friends for life because they're such like-minded people, and you get that connection there, and it's an amazing thing that you can. How can I put it? Not only feel at home with those people, but you can talk about things and not be classed as being weird, even though we are weird.
Well, Kind of, aren't we? But
Yes.
what's nice about it, because I was there this year, no, last year, now it's now 2024.
Yeah.
When I went, it was pretty interesting because there's that big common room where, after you do your sessions and you do your work, you can just relax with a cup of coffee or whatever. Everybody's in there, right? Conversating
Yep.
about, okay, well, I did this, what happened to you when you did that? Um,
Exactly.
you also work with her doing other things, do you not? Like not just you put on seminars, right?
We do a couple of workshops. I'm actually Joe's circle leader. So for seances and that, I sit obviously with her as circle leader. And in her physical circle, I am also her physical circle leader as well. Yeah, but I do work alongside Joe on a couple of things. Um, as you know, we done Tackling the Dark Side, which is
Right.
one of the things that we do work together with very closely. Yeah, but
It's not all
she's
love and light, is it? It's kind of like once you get into this, you have to know about the other side of it, don't you?
exactly as I always say, knowledge is power. And yes, it's not a very nice side of things that you do deal with, but there's balance. Where there's light, there's also dark.
Right.
And if people are actually aware, it keeps them safe.
Right, right. Hope Spiritual Center, they don't have any TVs. I know she doesn't because she wants to encourage people to, share and talk about their experiences, which is kind of cool. But she's also got it set up so you can bring your own food, but there's also a kitchen where you all eat together. How do you feel pretty comfortable doing that, don't you?
Well, to be totally honest with you, people are so friendly because you have so many things that you can talk about on spiritual side or as you were saying, your experiences, other people's experiences. But by the time you've sat down, either with a glass of wine or a coffee, um, there's it's time just flies. By the time you've actually had your uh, lessons for the day, for want of a better word, you can either eat in, as you rightly said, there's a kitchen there,
Right.
there's a cafe just down the road, there's an Indian, a Chinese, an amazing fish and chip shop. I mean,
Yeah.
there's everything. There's a shop just at the end of the road. There's so for food wise, it's perfect. And if you
Yeah.
wanted some time out, literally just down the road, you're on the beach as
Right.
well. So if you wanted
Beautiful.
to go and just have a meditated walk by yourself or with people, there's that opportunity as well. Or you can sit, chat. There's a library there with loads of amazing books that you can read. There's there's so much that you don't need a TV.
Right.
It's simple. You
Exactly.
don't need a TV.
You also told me that you practice Reiki and that you're interested in is it shamanic? Is that how you say it?
Yes, I'm actually a Reiki master teacher and a shamanic practitioner as well.
Can you explain some of that for people that don't know what that is?
Well, Reiki is obviously a hands-on healing, um, which you can
Right.
do your Reiki 1, which is basically you work on yourself. You can then do your Reiki 2, which makes you that you can practice on people. And
Yeah.
then obviously you can do your masters and your teachers on that.
Okay.
So that's one side of healing. And then I also do shamanic work, which is, again, I class all spiritual work as healing, whichever way I
Right.
class it all as healing, because you are healing in some form. Whether you're giving messages to people, it's healing.
Yeah.
If you're doing healing work, it's also healing. If you're going and doing past life regressions,
Yeah.
again, it's all healing. And
Right.
that's the way I actually class spiritual work to me is healing.
That's wonderful. It actually is healing. I've experienced some of that myself, although my last visit to Hope Spiritual, I remember bits and pieces, and I don't know if it was because I was so engrossed in, like what I was learning and talking to everybody that I do remember the food. I remember the big room with the fireplace, you know.
Oh, that's a lovely room in
It
that
is,
room.
isn't it?
It is
And
a
I know
beautiful room.
there's been a lot of remodeling that Joe's done recently. Um, you sit in her groups and you work with her. What do you work with her doing any kind of physical mediumship or trance mediumship?
I do physical with Joe. As I say, I'm actually her circle leader in the physical. She is the most amazing physical medium. The phenomena that we see just in our circle is mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. But across the board, to be totally honest with you, um, I don't actually do trance because that's something that is my choice. I'm a
Okay.
control freak. But yeah, amazing, amazing trance tutor as
What is a
well.
what is a circle leader? I mean, what does that
Bas-
entail?
Basically, I sit there and I keep control of the circle. So, control of Joe, control of the people sitting, keeping people safe and protected, and making sure people aren't doing anything that they shouldn't be doing. And if
Right.
something doesn't feel right, I'm the one that will stop it all.
How, isn't that, is it, it's dangerous, isn't it? There's certain rules when you're in a circle that you have to follow, isn't there?
Yes, there is. That's why it's people think, oh, you're being really strict, but you have to be strict because it can be dangerous.
Can
You
be
know,
dangerous
it
for
can be
the,
dangerous. Joe can be hurt.
yeah,
Um, and at the end of the day, that's not going to happen on
right,
my watch, as one might say. So, yes, I can quite often shout out and say, sit still, don't move. Who's moving their feet? Because
right.
it's it's dangerous.
Yeah. I noticed that when I was there, there was, I think it was Dawn was our circle leader when I was there. Um, what would you, okay, so your family, this runs in your family, but people that come to Joe are people that feel like there's something going on, or they hear voices or they know things.
Yeah.
How would, for everybody that's watching this YouTube video, what would you explain to them how to proceed? Like, okay, I've got this gift. Where do I go? And what should they watch for? Or who they go to?
I would always check out because obviously there's quite a few fraudulent people out there that are in it for the wrong reasons, shall we say. Um, I always feel that your guides will take you to the people that you need to be with and work with who will get the best. Because at the end of the day, your guides want to work with you.
Right,
So if they can put you with somebody that's going to say, hey, this is what you need to be doing, they're going to be absolutely ecstatic that at last we can got somebody that we can work with.
right,
Um, if it doesn't feel right, or if you go to a circle or whatever you intend doing, if it doesn't feel right,
yeah,
don't do it. It's not right. If they don't practice what I call safe practice, i.e., protection, I mean, the first things about grounding and protection, if they don't start off with that, I would be quite weary to start with, to be totally honest with you, because if you can't do the basics
right,
and be taught the basics to start with, then you're then going to either end up in problems
right.
Whereas if you actually talk correctly, and you
Yeah.
will know if you're with the right person because you will just flourish and you will improve, you will feel happy. And to be, I mean, I can only speak as I find I was in a circle before Joe,
Yeah.
and it wasn't for me. My guides then, for some reason, made me go to the hall in Missenden, and I met Joe, and
Okay.
her teaching sat right with me. And I feel as though I've come on absolute leaps and bounds. And as
Yeah.
Joe always says, she wants you to be better than her.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of teachers, should I say,
Right.
yes, they want to help you, but they don't want you to be better than them.
Right. And then I have also found that there's a lot of egos because I've been to a lot of different people. And until I met Joe, I really didn't know there was never the prayer, there was never the grounding. It was never explained to me what I was exactly doing and all the different terminology, that you need to know, like overshadowing, transfiguration,
Yep.
mediumship, psychic. They're all different, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Definitely. But
So it,
again, if you go to anything of Joe's, you leave if you've got ego, you leave it at the door.
right,
It's not acceptable in her classes at all.
right, right. And she's got people pretty much all over the world that come to see her, don't they?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
But she's very good at what she does. And when you're good at what you do,
right.
I mean, I feel absolutely privileged to be one of her students.
Yeah,
And I will say tutor as well,
yeah.
because it is a privilege to
It,
be
it is.
tutored by her.
Yeah, and then to have come along so far. So your gift is actually you see things in the future, don't you?
Yes.
I guess
Yes.
that means
Yes, it does happen. I mean, that's not as yeah, I do see things that but I mean my main gift is feel, to be honest with you. I can feel people, for want of a better word, through their energy, what they have wrong with them, all
that's
that. That's my main, what I would say that's one of my main gifts that I have
so
is
like
clairsentient.
you can look at a person and you can just tell from their energy field or you feel or kind of like you feel what they feel or some, like, you know what I'm
Exactly that.
saying?
Yes.
So you don't have
I mean, I do. I'm very grateful for the gifts that I have.
yeah,
I do. One of the gifts that I have that I can actually put my hands on someone's shoulders and I will feel what's wrong with them.
that's
And
amazing.
I can actually do it from a distance as well. So for me, yeah,
That's
but
amazing.
it's, yeah, but the mediumship and that has come on from being with Joe
Right.
because not knowing, as you rightly said, when you don't know what's you should be doing or what's right or what isn't right,
Yeah.
once you know what is right and the way you should be doing it, it
Right.
makes it so much easier.
It seemed it makes sense because uh for me, I have this whole thing that I do when I'm practicing now. Like I didn't used to say the opening prayer, and so now I'm like, gotta say that, and keeping a journal. Do you keep a journal of things that you do?
No, I'm very poor, very poor at keeping records of what I do. I seem to I know the things that I've done,
Yeah,
but I don't keep a record. I know lots of people do, which is a good thing because it can um, show you how far you've come on, which in a way,
yeah,
on doing like Joe's classes online,
right.
you always have to have obviously a pen and paper.
Yeah,
So when you're doing stuff online, if you actually then go back to one of the first pages and you're thinking, oh my God, I got most of that wrong, or this, that, and the
Yeah.
other. And then as you look further through, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, tick, that's not so bad. So you can see your progression that way as well, which is very
Right.
good.
You know, sometimes I get discouraged and I actually question myself, like, is this really a gift? I mean, am I really developing or is this just all in my mind? Do you ever feel like that or do you just kind of like,
Lots. No, I think everybody, I think if you didn't question it at times and you think, oh, yeah, this is just easy, then there's something definitely wrong. I've questioned, am I dreaming this? Am I
yeah,
thinking this? Is this for real? I shouldn't be doing this. Oh, I can't do this.
yeah,
And I think most people actually go through that, oh, at least 3 or 4 times a year, at least. But I do think that's a natural, well, it shows that you're not egotistical, for one thing,
yeah,
because I think in spiritual work, you're always learning. You will never, ever know everything,
right.
ever. I think I mean, I learn something every time.
Yeah,
It can be something little, or, oh, I didn't know that, or that's a good way of doing that. I didn't think of that. But you're
yeah,
always learning.
right. I think Joe brings in, well, her guides talk to her and, you know, say, okay, well, try this. Um, I think that's pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, I do go through that. I go through like, is this really me? And then when I hear things in my head, okay,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. You hear it's like, is that me talking to myself or is that my guide talking to me? Because it comes so quick,
Yeah.
and then you start having this conversation with this voice in your head. Does that happen to you?
Yes.
It
I
does.
mean, when I very first started, it was
Okay.
like Joe has always said, whatever drops in, you say it. Well, when I first started, it was like, nah, this isn't real. I'm being given an orange. I'm not saying I've been given an orange. I'll look
Yeah.
an idiot if I say orange.
Right.
But once you start trusting
Yeah.
and you say it, the people
Yeah.
can take it. But it's just getting that
Get it.
trust and
Right.
believing and not analyzing, because as soon as you start analyzing it, then that's your head going into it and not what they've told you.
Right. Yeah, I try not to analyze it, although I have to say my curiosity gets the best of me sometimes. You know, yeah. How long has it taken you? Because some people, they really want it to hurry up. They want it to happen like overnight. How long have you been doing this?
I've been with Joe probably 4 years now. Yeah, it must
Okay.
be about 4 years. And I can probably say it's only just, I mean, don't get me wrong, we
Yeah,
all say things and it comes through, but it's
right.
only recently that I actually 100% trust.
Well,
Before then, it was like, really?
how did you get to that point where you trust? Does Joe help you do that? Or I mean, is it through working with her that you finally get to that point? Like, like it's sort of like she confirms, yes, I know she says, I know you're better than that, you
Oh,
know,
yeah. Yeah.
definitely.
I think because she always says you get that truth vibration
Yeah,
and stop analyzing it, stop thinking about it. If it
right,
comes in, you say it.
right.
So once you start actually listening to Joe properly and doing exactly what she says, in as much as, right, that's what I've been given, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
And then you get more and more yeses, and you're thinking, actually, this really works. Just stop
Yeah,
analyzing it,
right.
and it flows so much better.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to that point. It's a lot of hard work, and I don't want people thinking that, oh, I'm listening, I hear voices in my head, or I just know this is going on, and then it's going to happen overnight. It's a different thing when you're developing it as opposed to being born with it, isn't it?
I, I still think that you develop all the time, though. I still think that even if you're born with it, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, clairaudience is totally different because it is somebody literally talking to you.
Right.
But when you're either feeling things or knowing things
Yeah.
or any of the other senses, you've still got to trust that point.
Right.
You've still got to trust what you're actually being given.
Yeah.
And I still think that it's all learning, all and it carries on being learning. I mean, I didn't know about physical mediumship. I didn't know that I was a physical medium.
Yeah.
I know things moved around the house and things were taken off the shelves and put in the middle of the room, and but I just thought that was a normal thing, really. And it wasn't until Joe said, "You're a physical medium," and there's me. Well, what's a physical medium?
Right. And so it was you actually moving those things around without you knowing it, or can you like
Well,
let it?
I would come home from work. I mean, the children have always heard the footsteps going up and down, the lights being turned on and off, the taps being turned on.
Yeah.
I just thought it was just somebody in the house, as in the spirit in the house. They're not harming anybody. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that it's because of being physical.
Ah, okay. Okay.
But when going to Joe's, it's the same when transfiguration, when
Right.
people are using my face, it's like I could feel them using my face, but I don't know what that was. It's just like,
Right.
but again, it's all learning and going and working as a student under Joe.
Yeah, it gets easier.
She's so knowledgeable.
Yeah.
She is such a knowledgeable person
Um,
that it helps you. It makes you understand, and she gets the best out of you.
you are going to be working with her on some upcoming events at Hope Spiritual Center, aren't you? I believe.
Yes, we should be doing. Um, I'm not sure which ones are coming up, but I do tackling the dark side with Joe, angels and auras,
Okay.
and there's a healing uh,
Okay.
thing that Joe's supposed to be doing, and probably end up doing some form of shamanic work as well up there.
That'd be wonderful. Those are all posted, right? And
They there are so many. If you're interested in them, I mean, I will honestly say I've been to as a student quite a few of Joe's retreats, and you go in there knowing nothing,
yeah,
and you come out knowing so much more.
right.
And they add great tools to your bag, i.e., the psychic detective and all these sort of ones that she does, angels and auras she done, and everything else. And it's, yes, sorry, that's my dog barking.
That's okay. Mine is sleeping in the background. Thank God. She's so lazy.
Yeah, but you will there if you look on either Joe's page
Okay.
or um, the Center of Hope, Hope Center.
Yeah.
There's there's lots of them listed, but I know on Joe's actual page, she does list the retreats and
Okay.
things that are actually going on.
That's on her Facebook page, right?
Yeah.
Joe Bradley.
Yes.
And all they have to do is search for Joe Bradley and then they'll be
Yeah.
able to find her. And then
Yeah.
she's also got Ask the Psychic, which is uh, another Facebook page where they have, uh, I guess what,
That's it's what the Ask the Psychics is basically they have different panelists, for want of a
okay,
better word. So all different people doing different things. Like they'll only have two people come on together, and obviously with Joe as well.
right,
So you can have somebody that's say doing numerology, somebody that's doing witchcraft or what there's so many different forms of, and if you're actually wanting to know something in particular, she will probably try and get somebody who is very good in their field on. And then you can log on. It doesn't cost anything.
Okay.
And you can ask the questions to whoever you're wanting to ask the questions about. They don't give, obviously, readings. It's not a place where people can go on and have a reading. But if
Right.
you're inquiring or wanting to know more about a certain subject,
Yeah.
they can help you. And it's a free platform, basically,
I
that
think
Joe
that's
does.
great. I think that's great. Thank you so much for
You're
being
more than
on with
welcome.
me and it's nice to be able to. I know you and we know each other through workshops, and
Yes.
I don't know, for some reason I've always connected with you. I don't know what it is, but I have. And you've got so much, I don't know, I want to say experience, and you're just so, I don't know, empathic. And I think it's just a real comfort, to people that are in the workshops with Joe, and also a friend, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
Making new
she's a
friends.
very good friend as well. So
Yeah. And so you took time out, and I appreciate that. And
no, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate the invite.
oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And everybody can find this on Joe's YouTube channel. Just look for Joe Bradley and on YouTube, and all these videos will pop up. So I'll talk to you later. Okay, Terri?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.